Welcome back, y'all.
Not fool.
Man, I am so excited.
We're talking about scale today.
This is your favorite. No, this is our favorite.
It's good.
No, it is good.
I like talking about it because I like providing clarity around it because it's a sexy word that people like to throw around. Everybody's like, I want to scale faster, scale. I'm like, you don't even know what scale means.
Like, you don't even know what you're doing. What are you scaling?
Yeah, what are you scaling?
More of the wrong things.
Yeah, and yes. There's a lot of ways we can go with this. Because also, like, people talk about scale long before you should scale. It's kind of a whole nother thing, but we're going to talk about how to scale smarter, and specifically how your growth plan might actually be your bottleneck. We see this happen a lot in companies we work with, where they're like, specifically early stage. It can happen at any stage, but early stage companies are so hungry for scale because scale has become synonymous with revenue. It's not necessarily a primary driver of revenue. If it's done poorly, or if it's done before you have some answers to some of the foundational aspects of your business, you scale in the wrong direction. It's actually a detractor. That's really what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get at how these growth plans, these ideas and goals of scaling can actually be the thing that's holding you back. Which is, I hate to see it happen, but it is one of the things that I like to help people catch, because you can scale, but if you scale in the wrong direction, you burn through your resources, and ultimately it's the ruin of many businesses.
Did you know, I have a stat real quick.
Ooh.
Did you know that, I think it was, don't quote me on this. I should have wrote it down, but I was doing some research on this a few days ago. And 46%, I believe it was 46% of businesses go under because of this challenge, because of the scale.
Wow. That's a shocking statistic. Also, like, that makes sense. I'm like,
it's like either that or teams.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, that feels like an appropriate number.
And this, the team piece actually, I think is contributed to this. So anyways, because we do a lot of stats, we have a lot of case studies on teams and how to build them and why it's important and alignment and all the things. But I was doing a ton of research the other day on scale, because we have a couple of people that we've been working with that are like, scale. And I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. and yeah, maybe in the right direction. But yeah, scaling for the sake of scaling. This is great. We're gonna like provide a lot of clarity today on what this actually means. This applies at we also, scale is often synonymous with early stage businesses. Today's conversation will be applicable for businesses at any stage, because you could scale a product, you can scale a team, you can scale locations, you can any inflection point can provide the opportunity for scale. If that's done poorly and for the wrong reasons, it's also the bottleneck. So it can cost you dearly at any stage of your business.
But before we hop in, I have a question. I
know, just trying to like be.
You're gonna actually like this question, because it's gonna be calling me out. Because I was like, all right, we're always calling Taylor out, so I'm gonna give you permission to call me right out. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, great. When is a time that I was pushing or not scaling in the right direction recently?
Today, yesterday, last week.
Okay, give specifics. We got to be specific. This is a growth moment, not an attack. I'm just kidding. You would never do that.
You?
Mm-hmm.
I think we've. I don't like. I'm really. We don't like operate that way as a team. So as like a leadership team. So there's not going to be a world where like it's your thing. I think you and I both have struggled to. Well, I think we're still in some ways, depending on like what business we're talking about, figure out how to really maximize some of the services that we've built. We have a lot of resources that we've put together. largely because of the nature of how we built, like specifically Impact Initiative. We started by building this online curriculum and this self-paced process to solve the problem, and backed into what that looks like at scale in terms of applying that to larger businesses. I think we still, depending on where it's applied, I think we're still trying to figure some of that out. Like we were like, oh, like we could do this because it's scalable. And I think that we have fallen into the trap of not paying attention to whether or not it is something that actually solves the problem for our ideal customer.
That's fair.
And I think those are joint decisions. Like I think it's hard. That's why we're going to talk about it today. You want to scale. Certainly as your business grows, time and bandwidth is your limiting factor. And so you're like, we got to scale this thing. And it's from an impact perspective too. You're like, well, I want to make sure can I get this into more people's hands so that I can solve more people's problems. I can make more of an impact. Mm-hmm. So you get hungry and you get antsy to scale. And it's hard. It's hard to see it in real time, and it's hard to know if it works. And I think you and I have fallen victim to that just like anybody else does. I mean, that's why what we use to build today's episode off of is like, yeah, I mean, I've certainly done it lots of times. It's like, we're going to scale and do it. And you get, a year down the road and you're like, this was not it. Like this is just the wrong, or like nobody wants it. Right? Yeah. Like I think at a very baseline level, the biggest thing that happens is you build something for a problem that no one has. Because you're so blinded by your want and desire to scale that you solve a problem that doesn't exist for your ideal customer. And then you don't know how to communicate it effectively, and then you put it out there and no one wants it. Mm-hmm. We see this all the time. People are like, oh, I'm going to add this thing to my service. I'm like, you don't even know if that's what they want. Yeah. They're like, it's scalable. I'm like, you just said a word. That doesn't mean anything. Like you've just said things.
You've just said
right, like
it's going on a t-shirt.
Yeah, like I've done it too. We're like, yeah, like scale, and I'm like, that's like I didn't. If I'm being honest, like I've said that a lot of times, just because it seemed like the next like obvious move, But I didn't have enough answers. I didn't have enough information. I wasn't clear, which means the team wasn't clear, which means we built something in the wrong direction, and it costs time, energy, money. So yeah, that's a good question. I think, it's a hard problem to solve. And so that's why we're going to talk about it today.
You didn't even call me out. I was really looking.
I'm not going to call you out.
I know.
Because it's not a situation where you get called out. We've talked about this on just an episode, the last episode, we talked about isolation. You don't get to be lonely as a leader. So you don't make decisions in isolation.
Fine.
Because I don't let you.
It was your one moment to call me.
Your team is here to support you.
Wow.
I can't believe that you think that I get joy in calling you out. I don't. I'm not going to let you have that.
Maybe as a challenger, I wanted to grow, and you're just robbing me of that.
The fact that you think that.
I'm just kidding.
You're going to need to do some self-reflection.
Oh. You're much nicer. I would have been like, boom, boom, boom. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's a great answer. And that's what honor looks like. So thank you. Okay. So we actually we've been in this. Anytime you're building this, you run into this. So there is no shade here. There is no shame. Mm-hmm. So bigger isn't always better, even though Texas told you so.
Even though Texas toast would have you think differently.
I mean,
more crust, more thickness. Sure, pile it on.
Mm-hmm.
Not always.
Yeah, not always.
Sometimes thin slices are the way to go.
I know, as long as they're in the right direction. So if you're making barbecue or French toast, the thicker slices might be the way to go. Mm-hmm. Maybe not if you're making a simple sandwich.
I'm really glad you included French toast in there. That was the one I was like,
oh yeah, no, you gotta
that was a test. I was going to throw you under the bus if you didn't say French
toast. Don't mess up food.
Yeah. You can talk about business all day long. If you start messing around with food, I got something to say.
Yeah, we would, our partnership would be over. Why did you guys stop? She didn't like food.
She messed up the French toast.
It was bad. That's the only thing that I've ever made Jesse that he would not eat was French toast. It was really early in our marriage. And I didn't cook it was like still squishy. Eggy. He was in a hurry and I was like, tough. Here you go. Yeah. And it was a big piece of thick toast. So bigger's not always better, y'all. Okay. So, but what is better? Being aligned. So making sure that you're in alignment. And like when we talk about in alignment through this episode, here's what I want you to remember. We're talking most of the time about being in alignment with what matters most to you. So if you do not have your North Star for your personal life and for your business, then take a beat and re-listen to this after you gain that clarity. Because if you don't have that, then it's really hard to know what you're in alignment with. So alignment is the thing that robs us from growth, and we try to grow fast instead of in alignment with what matters most. And even if we get there, we're going to be dissatisfied because it's not in alignment with what matters most. I said alignment a lot. It's clearly important. So let's talk about the wrong way to scale, and then we'll back into alignment, and like the right way to scale. So let's kick it off. Give us
red flags.
What not to do.
Yep. All right. Red flags. If you, if your scaling plan is off, here's a few things that are probably going to show up, or 100% going to show up. One, revenue grows, but your profits are down, right? Profit disappears. So you're making money, but you've not solved the core problem of how do I scale and increase profitability? So that means there's lots of different holes that you need to plug. That means the product is not truly scalable because you've increased money, but it takes more money than you're making to service that product. So this is a really just easy this is dollars and cents like business equation, but this happens a lot, right? It seems like this would be straightforward. Be like, yeah, we made a lot more money, but like, there's no more money to like actually grow the thing. Like our actual profit is disappearing. Next, your culture erodes as your team increases. So as the number of people on your team in your organization increases, the value and the cohesion of your culture is minimized or decreases. This means that in order to scale, you have sacrificed the single most important thing in your business, which is your culture and how people feel and fit within your organization. So you cannot scale at the expense of your culture. This happens from a variety of things: hiring too fast, feeling like you just need to plug holes, need to have, butts in the seat. But if your culture is being sacrificed at the expense of your growth, press pause, stop it, shut it down. You got to do it differently. Next, third, leadership capacity isn't keeping up with the needs of the business. So the leaders in the organization aren't able to continue to lead, again, in alignment with the culture of the organization through the lens of the things that make great leaders, which is we continue to stay visionary. We're not technicians. We're not managing or micromanaging. If the leadership can't keep pace with the needs of the organization, to support the team, to continue to provide appropriate feedback loops, get a meeting structure and cadence that works for the business. If all those things start to fall apart, then the scale isn't working. So often the scale just outpaces the business's ability to provide that thing and do it well and keep the integrity of the business. So those are three big red flags. There are lots of other ones. I could go on and on and on, but those are the ones that tend to show up the most. Those are the ones that tend to show up the earliest and the most readily. So look out for those. If those are happening, that's a red flag that your growth plan is not actually in service of the thing that you really want to build. You're just scaling for the sake of scaling. Now, you got those red flags. Now we're going to ask some questions about how to build a smarter growth plan. So we're like, okay, I got it, Taylor. I hear you. How do I actually solve this? And how do I actually scale? Because it is something that we do want to do. I'm not advocating, or we're not here to say like, don't scale. What we're saying is that you have to do it well, and you have to answer and ask some right questions first. So what are the 3 questions that we can ask ourselves to actually build a smarter growth plan?
Yeah, these questions are questions that we ask ourselves when we're getting ready to scale something. So this one like makes me sweat a little bit. The first one is, what does growth cost financially, culturally, and personally? You're so good at the personal part. Like, when you think about getting a new dog, you're like, what is that going to cost? And I'm like, I would have just got the new dog. Like, I don't really know. Like, we'll fit it in. And you're like,
again, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're like, please, Christine's eye roll there was epic. You're like, you're so good at this. Like, what did I do?
No, it's
I'm just over here sitting on our couch and you're just eye rolling my face off.
No, it's like inspired me. Like, sometimes when I go to do something, I'm like, what would Taylor think about before he made this decision? Before he took it, what would his expectation mapping look like? What questions would he ask himself? Because you're so good at making sure you make decisions that serve everyone around you. And I think scale is one of those. Like, does it serve your culture? Does it serve your finances? Mm-hmm. Does it serve you personally? Does it serve your wife? Does it serve your husband? Like, you're really good at that. I am not. I'm like, I did a thing, and you're like, everyone's like, oh god, here
everything has a cost. This is something I've talked about before in another podcast that I do, Endurance Minded. I've talked about this a lot. Actually, is I think I won't go on a whole diatribe here, but it is important to recognize the cost and just understand if you're willing to pay that cost. Mm-hmm. Everything has a cost, and I think what gets so many of us in trouble is that we don't take just a beat to think critically about whether or not the cost is too high. And because you cannot, you take no action in your life without a cost. There's something that has to give. If you do something in your life, that means that time has to come from somewhere else. So which means it impacts someone else, which means it has a very real financial cost. The list goes on. There are costs associated with everything you do. Are you willing to pay the cost? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Rock and roll. Go for it. But map that out.
Yeah.
Recognize what it means. And I think if we just took a beat, that would save so many people so much heartache, because we get too deep and then recognize the cost is too high. And that's okay. Like, if you do that ahead of time and you say, yep, cost is too high. Scaling is a great example of this. It will require more. You will not scale. That's the other thing. People are like, I'm going to scale and I'm going to be able to work less. False. In order to scale, the input up front will be greater. You will not produce more without more input.
No.
So you need to get very clear on whether or not you're willing to pay the cost. Scale does not come without a cost. In fact, I would argue it is the hardest thing to do, and it will cost you more than you ever thought. So get clear. And like, if the answer is no, like, stay where you're at and run a successful business. You don't have to scale. Mm-hmm. And then if you do want to scale, get clear on the cost. And again, make sure that you understand what that growth costs. So I could go on and on, but it saves people so much. Like, I want people to hear that, because if you just ask the question, I think that so often the answer is no, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to chase the thing. Like, understand the cost. If the cost is too high, be honest and build the thing in alignment with the value structure that's right for your life. And if and stay below your threshold, right? Don't overspend to the extent that if the cost is too high, you're going to be in a deficit. Just in a bank account, personally, emotionally, mentally, things will suffer.
Yeah, and investment isn't bad. Cost is not bad, but it is something to consider. Mm-hmm. And my eye roll was because you're good at it, and I am not that intentional. I'm like, I got a dog, and you're like, ugh. Seriously, we all got to deal with that.
Yep. Now it's everyone's fault.
So ask yourself, what is growth going to cost? Number 2, what do we need to stop doing to scale well? This is one that we make really sexy. Prune to progress. Mm-hmm. Sounds super nice.
We do say that really well.
We do. We're like, you need to prune to progress. Hard. And then someone's like, chop that person, fire that person, do this, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't want to prune. That sounds terrible. Like,
sounds sharp and prickly.
Yeah, like that's not really sexy. that one is, again, there's a cost. You're going to probably have to give something up to make room for something new. And so what is that you're going to have to prune? Are you willing to pay that cost? Kind of goes back to the first one. And then who do you need to become as a leader, or who do we as a team need to become as leaders to grow sustainably? This one's challenging and so fruitful when we do it well. I think growth sounds super sexy. Like, I love to travel for work. You love to travel for work. But when you have to do it 52 weeks out of the year, that doesn't sound so great. And sometimes I'm like, we're going to do 50 intensives. And Becca and Taylor are like, hell we are, girl. Calm down. Take a beat. And I think growth sounds sexy. It sounds like a great idea. We like the idea of it. But when we get down to this one, what's the leader you're going to have to become to travel 52 weeks out of the year? How are you going to manage your household? How are you going to manage all of your employees when you're not in technician mode ever? Those things, that type of leadership is just different. And so if you can't sustain it for at least 1 year, don't do it. It's not time. Don't pull the plug, whatever. Or no, trigger. Sorry.
You might need to pull the plug. So you don't need to pull the trigger.
Oh, it's so on brand for me saying the wrong little thing. Okay.
Yeah. Again, the cost is high. That's a great example. Like we say we want the thing. The cost of that is high. Like, and again, travel is a great example of that. Like that impacts a lot of people in our lives. Personally, it impacts our ability to show up for our team. You and I have, like, this is different. Like, if you're doing things and you're on the road, like you are just not available. And so you better have somebody behind the scenes, and lots of people behind the scenes really, that are able to move the needle that you trust, or otherwise things are really going to fall apart.
And just even with like your normal schedule, like everything shifts, like, going to church or showing up for wine club or whatever the thing is that you do on the weekends.
That's
like
my church.
Yeah, that's your church. Like whatever that thing go, like doing, we work with a lot of endurance athletes in one of our companies, and travel really interferes with your ability to show up for yourself physically and building that out. So just really thinking about that leader that has to change. Like, you literally have to change who you are to make room for scale sometimes and to sustain that growth. So really think through that. Yeah. So Taylor, what are the tools to help us get in alignment and actually grow with more capacity? Because if not, there's a big cost. We've talked about that. How do we change that? If we're like, yes, it's worth it, I want to make the investment, how do we do this well?
Yeah, like we've said many times, you don't get different results by staying the same person. Like, you have to be someone different in order to do different things. And so when we think about what are the real tools, the things that we need to do to align growth with our capacity, there's a few key areas. One, that we have to create a clear org chart. So we have to understand what the next stage of business looks like. Like you were just saying, who are the people in place? Recognize what the cost is. What's the infrastructure required to do this thing? And then who needs to be there so that this thing can be carried out? This is a big one. If you can just get ahead of this, if you've answered yes to the other questions that we've posed, if you say, yep, I'm ready for scale, the cost is right, I'm ready to pay it, I know this is what I want, then who are the people? What's the org chart look like? And then forecast that out. It's the next stage of business, not where you're at right now. It's what is the thing, what's the cost, and who are the people that are going to be needed to service this thing. Next, I love it so much. Build a repeatable process. Like, before you, if you can't, I'm going to get on a soapbox. This just drives me mad. When everybody, like early stage businesses again, they're like, I'm ready for scale. I'm like, you haven't done enough to scale. Like, you're not in a plate. You haven't learned enough. You haven't done enough sets and reps to be able to be to a place where you have enough information to know what to scale. So when you're in that place, then you can recognize what's the repeatable aspects of this thing. How can I systematize them so that they're ready for scale? If you got like 10 clients, you're not ready for scale. You haven't done enough, right? You're not at capacity. Like, there is a function of this where like you have to understand what the process is so that you can back into what are the repeatable versions of it, what needs to be systematized, then it's ready to scale.
Do you have raving clients that are making you a lot of money? And if the answer is no, don't scale.
Don't scale. And only when your time, anyway, I'm going to go on a whole thing. I'm going to back off of that. The third one is invest in leadership development alongside your revenue goals and targets. This is the thing. When you scale, it is going to require you to be a different person in your organization. What that means is that the skill sets that you have and that you've been able to deploy to get you to where you're at are not going to take you where you want to go. And they're not going to be in service of the team that you had to bring in place to deliver and fulfill the scalable solution that you've now built. What that means is that you now need to work on yourself as a leader and work on your leadership team as leaders, not just people that are doing work. This is like, I mean, there's just a bajillion instances of this, right? Where companies fail because the thing that they built that is now scalable, they can't service because they don't understand how it works and they're not able to run a business. They were great technicians. They were great at getting the thing. They had great ideation. Scale means that now the business looks and feels very different, right? So if you went from, I mean, whatever the revenue targets are, it could be a sliding scale anywhere in the marketplace, really. But when you scale, be ready for a change. Your business will not look, feel, and be the same. And so that requires a different investment. Leadership development, making sure that you have people alongside you that can help you identify what the team looks like. I'm not just saying that because that's what we do. Like I have not done this and it has screwed me over royally. It's a different job. It is 100% not the same thing that you started the business doing. That's a different skill, and do not think that you can just wing it. It's not a skill that comes naturally. Now, there are gifted leaders, but it's a skill that has to be refined, just like anything else. Just like you had to learn how to do your business and build your thing, and that took thousands and thousands of hours. Same thing applies to leadership. So
if you have 3 employees and things are not going well and people are not aligned, adding another 10 employees are not going to help? Adding a baby to a broken marriage is not going to help?
Yeah, we hate each other. Let's have a baby so we don't have to talk. or if you're not, or get a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, all of those things make it worse.
That's why I thought about getting a second dog for 3 years.
Yeah, because there's a real cost, and like adding more doesn't actually solve the problem. So adding more locations, adding more products doesn't actually change the revenue. Go deep before you go tall and wide. Otherwise, your tree is going to fall the fuck over.
I like that.
Like my visual there?
Nice little tree. Take us home.
Leadership challenge.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, so audits your plan. Is it working? Like you probably have a current growth plan. Audit it. Is it working? What is not in alignment with what matters most or who you are as a leader? Ask yourself those questions and then ask yourself, what is it going to cost you to continue to push on this plan? Because that I think was a great takeaway that we brought back like time and time again. And growth isn't just your numbers. It's the infrastructure behind the numbers. So again, putting bigger numbers to a problem doesn't actually change the problem. It just makes it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So
and more expensive to solve.
Oh yeah, we see that so much. Like it just you can't outwork bad decisions.
Yeah, the problems are the same. They just cost a lot more to solve.
So solve the problem. Go deep before you go tall and wide. I'll say it again. And if you want more help with this, obviously we could talk about this for a long time. This is a very big topic. So if you want more help with this, we have a couple of places that we intentionally talk about this every single month. So tell us more.
Yeah. So we have our 2 in-person events as per usual in Denver, Colorado. We're going to be talking on the 4th Wednesday of this month to health and fitness entrepreneurs about how to scale specifically through the lens of collaboration and partnership. We're going deep on this for the next couple of months, and how to really align with people that are going to help you scale in a way that is smart for your business. So that is the fourth Wednesday of this month. Fourth Thursday of this month, we're going to be doing our hub, our service hub network, which is for trades and services industry. Same thing, hiring, scale. How do we solve the problems that are specific to this industry? If you don't want to figure out the answers to this on your own, if you want to flatten the learning curve and you are anywhere or can get on a plane, I can't recommend it enough. This is a free event. We do this because we believe in it, and we want to help as many people as we can. And if you can't make it to those, then we're more than happy to connect with you at impactinitiative.network. You can find us there, reach out, let us know what's going on. You can see all of the opportunities for support on our website. And until then, we'll see you next time on Impact Minded.
Bye, y'all.